All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Look at this nice, shiny new overlay we have here. Courtesy of the one and only Max Barr. He's here ready to talk some SEC basketball on a Tuesday morning. We're upgrading over here, Max. The SEC is making 5 teams in the tournament this year, but we don't care. We're over here making some upgrades for the people. All you out there watching on the mobile, on the TV. Sam always tells me no one watches on the computer anymore. But wherever you're watching, got a fine new overlay here. See our proud sponsors there. Yearly company, ROKFORM, FanDuel. Tremendous start to a Tuesday morning in SEC basketball.
Huge Tuesday. Blake, it's a small Tuesday, but huge Tuesday. We got a lot riding on today and tonight. Got a lot riding on tonight. I'm excited. I think that this is a real opportunity for the SEC. Any given Tuesday night, come out and make a statement here when everyone's down on you. Chris, hop on in. This is the place to be a little bit nervous. Hey, I think you'd be a little bit, someone would be wrong, Blake, if you weren't a little bit nervous to play the Huskies in Madison Square Garden tonight. Maybe Terrace Reed out there, full front court for the Huskies going against that Gator front court. Sign me up. One of the best games of the whole non-con.
Current line over at FanDuel, UConn minus 5.5 against the Gators. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about Kentucky, North Carolina Central. That current line, 45.5. I don't know how I feel about the Gators being 5.5 point underdogs. I also don't know how I feel about Kentucky being 45.5 point favorites against anyone right now. But we'll talk about it here in just a minute. Quite the difference, to say the least. All right. We're going to get into it. You guys hop into the chat. Lots of stuff to come. We got to talk bracketology today, too. Oh, my.
It's time to start talking bracketology.
Yeah. We got some serious business to talk about in this bracketology. So, got a lot to discuss. We are starting a little early today. We've got some other things to do this morning. So, yeah, getting a little early start. You guys hop on in with us. Max, we did our UConn Florida preview yesterday. Any additional thoughts, maybe that we didn't get into that much on this matchup between the Gators and the Huskies?
Yeah, drop in the chat. What are your expectations for Gators Husky game of the night? What are we thinking? You mentioned the line 5-point underdog, right? Some quick VSIN splits. 74% of bets are on UConn minus 5.5. That's holding 68% of the money. So the public are buying in on the Huskies, saying I have not liked what I've seen from that Gators backcourt so far. Like, I was just watching Eric Fawcett, Florida Basketball Hours breakdown of the game, and some interesting notes that we didn't get to. Did mention the flying around screens. Who's that going to be? Is that going to be Haw? Are they going to switch? You don't want Chinyelu and Condon flying around all night. And the addition of Mullins. Now, I mean, he's a guy that's his game, flying around screens and making life difficult on the perimeter, knockdown shooter. So that's like the main question mark for me, is how is Todd Golden going to choose to defend the Caravan, Mullins coming across screens, who's going to be flying around. But then he also got into the plus minuses, Blake, so far. I mean, small sample size, but there were some interesting notes. Tommy H was actually one of the biggest minus guys, but I think that was more because he's playing the most in the tough games, playing the least in the easy games. So that's a little bit skewed, but Boogie Fland, Blake, from the plus minuses, Boogie Fland was pretty dang good compared to Xavier Lee. I think there's something there with Boogie, and then it's just Irby adds the offense, hurts the defense. Xavier Lee has been a little bit of nothing so far. To win a game like this, Boogie's going to have to be Boogie, and then someone next to him, Blake, don't know who, someone next to Boogie's going to have to really play above their level so far this season.
Well, that was my thing. As I said, I think Boogie Fland's obviously the key here. You need another good game out of him. He's got to be aggressive. You just can't at this point, you can't expect if you're Florida to settle for 3-point shots and expect them to go in. Um, you just can't. So they're just not a good shooting team right now, and so they're going to keep shooting them. And I think it's all a matter of how many attempts do you have, because that's the thing, Max. Like they're still putting up a lot of threes. I mean, 28 attempts against Duke, 33 against Providence, 29 against TCU. They're going to keep shooting them. It's just, you just need more to go in. And as we said, I think we mentioned in the preview, like defensively, this is one of those where like Dan Hurley, he is going to come up with something where it's going to be like so extreme one way or the other, where it's like, hey, every one of my guys on defense, just stay in the paint. I don't want anybody with a foot on the 3-point line or beyond. If they want to shoot it out there, let them shoot. You're going to get one of those probably, but they're going to be all over them. I mean, I just think, again, the physicality of UConn, knowing, Florida too, very physical, especially on the glass. I think that's going to be a big story in this game. And, I think as well, like, Florida's the kind of team now, based on kind of the struggles of some of the non-star type guys, you get one or two guys in foul trouble, all of a sudden this game, it becomes an issue because you're not seeing the depth that we thought this team could have, just because, the rotation kind of is what it is right now.
Yeah, Chris mentions that the UConn offense confused the Gators last year in the tournament. And that was another thing that Fawcett had mentioned, was not only the screens, but the slips off the screens. If you're going to switch it or if you're not going to switch it, that communication has to be perfect and has to be fast, or Hurley's going to draw stuff up to just crush you. And so whether it's Irby Clabjar out there for the offense, because Blake, like we've said the past few days, this is a UConn team that's actually been really leaning on their defense this year. It's been a really good UConn defensive team. If that is Irby Clabjar in there to help the Gators offense, he's got to play his best defensive game of the year. Gotta. And if it's Xavier Lee there, he's going to have to play the best both. You're going to have to get an offensive output similar to the Providence game, and he's probably going to have to play his best defensive game. The communication on the perimeter has to be the best it's been so far for the Gators. I think it can be. You just went into Cameron Indoor and held Duke to a respectable total there. I think it can be. It's just a matter of what pieces are we going to see. And like Chris mentions here, maybe you saw the lineup get squeezed down to 7 last time, Blake. You never know. Maybe you see a little bit of CJ Ingram, Isaiah Brown or something. It's usually in these big games where an unsung hero is the difference maker. Florida could really use it in the backcourt.
They could. And yeah, I mean, something too, like in these close games so far, they won the close game against Florida State, but like some of these games you feel like came down to the wire, and it's been the other team making the bigger plays and just finding ways. It seems like in some of those, I know, maybe a little controversy with some of these. We've talked about that before, but Arizona, TCU, Duke, like these are all games decided by 6 or fewer points. And, Florida's lost those games. Like I said, they did beat Florida State, found a way to hang on. But, like what happens again? If you find yourself in a close game, you need somebody to make a big shot, you got to take care of the ball. You got to be able to knock down a shot from the perimeter at some point consistently. And, again, I just think it's 1-2 where if you kind of look at this and you feel like the value of those offensive rebounds for Florida right now, if UConn's able to limit that, I could really see this being just one of those grinded out type games where it is, KenPom has a 75-71 like projected score, but I could see this being on a little bit lower. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we mentioned this in the preview, I think, but when you look at last year's matchup, the March Madness game, Florida shot 47% from 3, 9 of 19. They didn't take too many, but when they did, Walter Clayton, 5 of 8, Elijah Martin, 2 of 4, Will Richard, 2 of 4. No one else on the team made a 3. It was the 3 guards made all 9 threes.
No.
And UConn shot 8 of 29, 27.6%. Florida hasn't shot over 36% from 3 yet this year. So you can pretty much take a 2-point game from last year it's different teams and everything, but Florida's going to have to make up ground elsewhere because I don't think you can rely on a 20% advantage on the 3-point line in this game with the way that Florida's been shooting so far. If you look at the assist to turnovers, there was 12 assists, 12 turnovers in that game for Florida last year. And this UConn defense, I think, is better than last year. It's going to have to be every member of the backcourt. I sound like a broken record already, but every member of the backcourt for Florida, it's going to have to be their best game of the season. We know what to expect from the front court, what you're going to get from that whole group, and throw Tommy H in there as well. But this backcourt, now is the time to show why you're paid multi-millions of dollars. It's games like this.
All right. Well, if you want our full preview, you can check it out here on the channel. We did a full preview of this game, made our picks, and a lot of you have already watched it. But if you haven't, check it out here on the channel, and get our thoughts. And should be a good one tonight.
Anybody got the stones to take Gators on the money line, Blake, over at FanDuel? Maybe a little nice Tuesday payout.
Why not? Plus 195. I think come on. You got the emotional hedge will be in full effect. For me, it's a matter of, do I want to play the full money line or I want to go to the plus 5.5? That's the real question.
Decisions.
Emotional hedge will be in effect in this game. All right. Does anybody have this more than that to play Kentucky minus 45.5 against North Carolina Central? Max Barr has made his prediction that Kentucky's going to win by 100. So you're going to have an easy cover there if you decide to play that over at FanDuel. But this is a game where, we should expect Kentucky to bounce back in a big way. The thing is so fascinating here, Max, is like Ken Pom has this as a 31-point game. The line is 45.5. Like, think about that. Like, 45.5. Ken Pom has it as 31.
It's the old classic. If you don't look good in this game for Kentucky, your coach might be on the hot seat. You've lost 4 big games spot. It's the classic spot you always see in the second week of December that costs you 15 points on the spread. We've seen this before, Blake. What is going on?
Has there ever been a more lopsided? Like, I can't imagine there have been many in history. That, again, knowing like the Ken Pom data and how it plays into the line, like, what does Torvik have? Like, do you have any of these other ones pulled up?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by this right now.
Torvik has minus 34.5.
Still a double-digit difference. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There is no chance I am taking Kentucky minus 45.5. I just can't imagine. Now I can, knowing, and here's why. I'm going to tell you why this is what it is. They beat Valpo by 48. I think that's right. My math is terrible. They beat Eastern Illinois by 46. They beat Loyola by 42, and they beat Tennessee Tech by 50. Technically, NC Central worse than all those teams. So that is the thinking here, and that is why this line has inflated to this point. But the way they played in that game, I don't know how I could come out of this and feel as confident, because even in the other games that they lost, we mentioned they always bounce back because it was really a matter of the opponent, just playing an inferior opponent right after playing a Louisville or Michigan State. But like, this was such an extreme that I think we may be trying to go back to the well here of something that worked earlier in the season that I don't know if it's going to work right now. So,
yeah, I've got a clip of Mark Pope from his radio show that we'll pull up. But Blake, we were making fun of the poor Eagles from NC Central for their wins over Bluefield and Toccoa Falls in Carolina.
I'm not making fun of them. I'm just stating facts.
No, I did that. I didn't say that. But you look at some of their results. They only lost by 5 at JMU. They only lost by 19 at Dayton. 19 at Virginia. Now they do have some 40-point loss, the 40 to North Carolina, 40 to NC State first game of the year. But they also have like some 19 at Virginia, like 46 and a half. You gotta just destroy them. All right. Hey, I might be obligated. To take Cats minus 46.5.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot, but all right, let's play the clip. Like there's nothing else here to say about Kentucky that we haven't already said, but let's leave it to Mark Pope.
Yeah, this was just kind of like the opening statement. It was like an hour long or maybe even longer radio show, and this was just kind of Mark Pope's opening statement here.
And your guys, since a rough night on Friday.
Whew. Well, it's been rough. It's when you have a rough night, it continues on to a rough morning and a rough afternoon and a rough night and so on and so on. But it is like it's a major overhaul reconstruction. It's been super emotional and really taxing and at times really ugly and violent and yelling and crying and all the stuff. It's just there's a certain amount of gnashing of teeth that goes on when you're not functioning well the way that we should and so it's been really challenging, is exactly as it should be, and it's a fight. And so I love this group. I think that when it's all said and done, this group is going to accomplish great things. But, man, it's hard right now, and we're reconsidering everything. It's not where you want to be at this point in the season where you're trying to rethink everything you do. There's a lot of things that we know we can get done. We're learning about ourselves, but it just is. It's exactly what it should be when we're performing the way we should. It's pretty sleepless and pretty tough, but it's also exciting and I love the drudgery. I love the frustration. I love the challenge of it.
Obviously.
Well, I'm glad he enjoys it. No, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, he said a lot of words there.
Yeah.
I mean, he said like 28 words to describe the situation. And, I mean, I get it. Like, and that's what I said before the other night after the game. I'm like, if there's one thing I will say, it is, like, this is a Kentucky guy. It's not an outsider who doesn't know what this pressure and the expectations are like. He knows what they're like. And at least give him that, right? But there's also a thing in that it's one thing to know what it's like to have that pressure and know the expectations of being the Kentucky basketball coach. It's another to get the program to that level. And right now, it's like, do you have the answers? And so far, we have seen someone that I think just doesn't have the answers. When he's throwing around violent and all this other stuff, like, I don't know what he's talking about there. Maybe it's what I said the other night. Maybe the man came out of Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. He's throwing chairs everywhere. He's ripping off his shirt. He's going after the Nashville Predators mascot, Nash. Like, I don't know. But that's what I mean, here's the thing. Tonight, I don't think it's going to tell us something. But it's not going to tell us everything because now we have been burned so many times to where they could come out and beat NC Central by 45 or more tonight. And I don't know if you're a Kentucky fan, if that changes your outlook all that much, unless you just see guys getting after it. And even then, you're going to question whether you're going to get that same effort or performance when there's adversity when they play Indiana, because there will be adversity when there's playing Indiana. And so far, a team that has not responded to adversity very well. So,
sorry. The clinical hillbilly here, cynical hillbilly said that my mustache is just a chocolate milk stain.
You just can't get rid of it sometimes, It's just how it works. So,
$5 super chat here from Chris. Guys, how much do you believe in Mark Pope's words? Doesn't he have to prove it with his actions? Not sure violent is accurate. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Chris. But Blake, that was my main reaction from that clip was, are we talking emotionally violent or physically violent? I'm assuming it's emotionally violent, maybe violent with words and violent with how you're addressing the situation. I don't think he's saying that cats are throwing hands in the locker room. I don't think that's what's going on, but he didn't really leave it up to clarification either. I guess it's just violent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Unless guys are just duking it out after practice, I don't know. But listen, that's the easiest way to fix some of these sometimes. But I don't know if that's where they're at. But yeah, I just again, I don't know how much we're going to learn tonight, other than let's see what the rotations look like. To me, that's the biggest thing, because if you are making an overhaul, if you're doing this reconstruction and all this other, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, I mean, that's like Shane just said. It's really looking for the lineups and seeing who's going to play. Are there certain guys who they're just saying, we're going to send a message because, we've seen other SEC coaches do that already, send messages by benching guys and saying, you'll play when you want to play and all this. Like, there has to be some of that. Like, if there's not, if you're just sporting out the same lineup that got your, what's handed to you against the Zags, then that ain't going to work. So, got to be some changes. So, yeah, Mother Carol brings up, it was the Ole Miss loss last year. Was it Pope? Yeah, lost it. So, maybe there's been some of that. But, I mean, look, I know Dougie mentions here, like, Indiana's struggling too. They are, but not to the extent that Kentucky's struggling. And that's why I say they're going to hit some adversity on Saturday, because Indiana's lost back-to-back games, Minnesota and Louisville, but they're still a very well-coached team. They're not going to be vintage Indiana this year. I mean, I think it's going to take a little time, but again, let's not act like they're not going to present some challenges for this version of this Kentucky team. And what we're going to call, Max, the Lamar Wilkerson revenge game here.
Oh, God.
So, could you imagine? I mean, that could make it even worse, right? This guy comes out and scores 30 on Saturday, and I don't know. So
that would just be kicking a man while he's down.
All right.
I think
$2 super chat from Quinn, real quick. Quinn's got to get his shot in at the Cats right now. We appreciate Quinn as always. We'll get back to your other chat earlier about the Tigers, but
literally just like a tryout for the starting lineup for Indiana tonight. Yeah. That's what tonight. Who the heck wants to show up and fight and grab a few offensive boards and earn a jump ball from getting on the floor and getting a hand on the ball? That's what tonight is. Win by 20, win by 30, win by 40. No one's going to care. There's the difference between winning by 20 and playing hard and winning by 35 and playing hard. A little bit. Okay, whatever. Find something to work on. Find something. Mark Pope was saying there later on in the radio show, like, what does reconstruction mean? It means like stripping back what we're working on to the very basics and raising our standard for those. The things that you can absolutely trust and count on no matter what, and raising the standard on those things. Whatever that may be for the Cats, whatever those standards may be,
effort.
Find out the find the 6, 7 guys, 8 guys that are going to do that and carry that over into Indiana. That's what tonight is all about for me.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it is like we're 9 games into the season and we're talking effort. We're talking, basic, just fundamental on-court stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I don't remember when I said, it's like, this team has right now, they have no intangibles. Like, what are the intangibles that give you an edge right now? They have none of them. What does, if you're Kentucky, what gives you the edge? Like, there is no identifiable thing right now. And I think that's such a huge contrast. So, yeah, like, what is it you're going to lean on moving forward? There's not one thing that I can identify right now that makes me confident in that answer. So,
well, did you also see that Pope was mentioning he's had to like close the gym off, like restrict guys from going in the gym because they're overworking right now and burning themselves out with all the pressure? He said Otega Owe has been in the gym 3 times a day and has started to, lose energy a little bit, burn out a little bit for how much they're trying to overcompensate. And I'm like, I think he's trying to help his guys out a little bit.
I get it, but you know what? Did anyone ever tell MJ that he couldn't go in the gym when he wanted to go in the gym? I mean, I'm just saying, I understand this is an extreme example, but sometimes you just gotta just let the guy, if they want to be in the gym for 15 straight hours, then let them be in the gym, man. No, I get it. I understand what he's saying. I mean,
Searching
you're
for
still
something.
you're still dealing with college kids here. I know they're getting paid, but folks, let's not act like, they're 50-year-olds with 30 years of experience post school. Like, you are still, and there's so much more to it, right? Like, think about social media, think about us. I mean, it's like there is a lot of
Yep.
noise out there. And so it is a different scenario now even than it was a decade ago. I mean, there's so many outside things that you have to try to control with your players, and when it gets to this level and you know what the expectations are, we're not just going to act like, oh, well, hey, they're grown, they're grown men. They're, 75. They've been married for 40 years. No, come on. Like, there's still some things that these guys don't know how to handle. And so, yeah, like Mark Pope stepping in, trying to figure that out. Understood. But, I mean, at the same time, like, it's, man, there is a lot of pressure. So
We did get updates on Quaintance and Diabate. I think it was yesterday, as in, I'm pretty sure Monday's practice, Kentucky had the fans in to watch practice, and
did they?
it was, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
And because I saw some posts from Kentucky fans that were saying, just watch Jaden Quaintance, looked great. He's, on his way back. Mark Pope did say still not anytime soon. I wouldn't expect December, but probably January, I think. He's full contact, and he's apparently, to the Cats fans that were at practice this week, looking good, looking physical. So there's that. And then on kind of a lesser positive note, I'm not 100% sure on it, but I'm pretty sure Diabate is still, so he's now been upgraded from week to week to day with this high ankle. So I think originally we didn't expect Modi to miss too much time, but maybe the high ankle was bothering him a little bit more than we thought. I don't think it's any Omarion Hampton be on IR for the entire fantasy football season and now my team is crushed type of high ankle sprain, but I think he should be back in a week or two. He's day to day, but I wouldn't expect him back tonight.
all right. We're about to jump on to the next thing. Before we do, Big Gator EJ chimed in. By the way, Big Gator EJ said, I am legend earlier, which is a fact. Yeah. Big Gator EJ is a legend, both in name and within his membership here at Southeastern 16. But he says, understand the effort argument for Kentucky's offense. However, when I watch them, their offense has no purpose, no identity, no set play, just dudes passing the ball, jacking up pointless shots. Yeah, they've gotten away from their offensive rhythm. But I mean, I think some of that's probably like they haven't had a choice. I just think they're searching for answers. But
yeah, I don't think JQ is going to be back by St. John's. I mean, it's 11 days away. He's still got to get back into game shape and get full practice in and everything. I mean, hey, if he's ready, he's ready, but I wouldn't expect it.
All right, let's do a quick little reset here before we get to bracketology, which will also involve some of these teams we've already talked about. What a fascinating bracketology we have on our hands this morning.
Yeah.
But you can have some fine jewelry in your hands from our friends at the Yearly Company. Nashville-based fine jewelry brand, built on tradition, designed for meaning. Solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, backed by a lifetime guarantee. It doesn't get any better than that. And, of course, every bangle custom size, so you got to know the size before you order. Get that holiday shopping in now. Don't wait. They'll run out of inventory. All these people coming their way from Southeastern 16, all these SEC fans buying up the jewelry. You don't want to be left out in the cold like me right now in the garage. So get that free sizing kit, SC16 kit, SC16 kit. 100% off the sizing kit at checkout. Go get that first. That way you know what to order. SC16 kit, 100% off at the Yearly Company. All right, ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. I have dreams of rock lock at this point. It's just me saying that over and over and over.
Happens.
Because I know that it's the best of the best. Phone cases, accessories, all kinds of great stuff over at ROKFORM. Check them out. Use our code SEC25 for 25% off at ROKFORM. All right. Bracketology has been updated. By the way, before we get to that, Quinn left us a chat earlier. Says Auburn should have been 4th in the rankings yesterday. Yeah, Quinn's been a member for 10 months. Get Quinn, noted legend as well.
Noted legend.
An absolute star on this show. But
has an argument, Blake.
Does have an argument. Quinn, it's a composite. We can't always control all the variables. But I think, if you do want to compare, and I think your comparison point, Quinn, was Tennessee. If you want to compare the two teams, I do think you can make an argument either way. And I'm going to tell you why. Head-to-head, Tennessee has a win over Houston. Auburn does not. Close both ways, but unfortunately, let's use the Miami-Notre Dame committee reasoning here.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. We would never try to do that. But it is true. You also have the fact that Tennessee has lost 3 in a row. They lost by 5 to Kansas, 2 to Syracuse, which is the worst loss of either team, I would say, in terms of opponent. And then they lost by 13 to Illinois. But, of course, you also have, in Auburn's case, they do have the 1-point loss to Houston, 30-point loss to Michigan, and pretty much a 30-point loss to Arizona. Now, again, you could say Tennessee would have lost the same way by 30 to Michigan, 30 to Arizona. Maybe. I can't prove that, but it's, again, we're splitting hairs here this early in the season. Both have been inconsistent at times. That's where I think it's like, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I don't, because we're talking about two teams that have been a little bit up and down, and still, I think, the best basketball to come for both. So, that's where I'm at on it. All right. Speaking of
Bracketology,
this is great for the discussion, by the way. Bracketology. ESPN has updated their bracketology here.
Not seen this yet. Blind.
Max has not seen it yet, so we're going to pull it up here, and I'm going to keep it before we reveal the bracket. I will start at the top here. That way, let me pull it up on the screen.
May take a second to resize it, but
yeah, we got these new graphics. We might have to resize a little bit here, but let's give it a shot. All right. So, it's going to be hard to see, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, we'll just pull it off the screen. I'll read it to you. You guys can listen and watch. All right. Yeah, just pull it off the screen, Max.
I could drop the here. Let's just drop.
Oh, there you go. Look at you. You're a genius. Absolute genius here. Now we just got to... Yep. It's fine. I can read it.
What happened?
Oh, did it? Oh, I thought it went off the side of the screen. Okay. All right. So as you can see, a lot of bubblicious SEC teams over here in the first 4 out, next 4 out range. You've got LSU, the 2nd team out, Missouri, the 3rd team out, Oklahoma, the 5th team out. A lot of wiggle room there, folks. You got 3 teams that could be in, 3 teams currently out. But we said that yesterday. I just don't think you could have a strong argument for NCAA. LSU is the one I think you could make more of an argument for. Missouri and Oklahoma right now, I think, are struggling to get there. But here we go, Max. Are you ready for the big reveal of the bracket?
I don't know. Now, seeing the bubble, I don't know if I'm ready now.
You know what we could also do, Max? We don't have to do it right now, but just something to think about in the future. We could also just put this over the entire screen and us just talk in the background to make it bigger. But we don't have to do that right now. All right, here we go. To the Midwest we go. You've got Tennessee, who has dropped to a 5, playing Utah Valley in Michigan's region. No thanks. You've got Alabama as a 3, and that's it over there. Playing Northern Colorado. Alabama looking at a possible Yale matchup, or Virginia. I'd like that for the Tide. So All right. I like it.
I don't know. That's an interesting setup.
It's an interesting one. Okay. Over here in the East. So 2. Keep that in mind. 2 SEC teams over there.
Yeah, 2.
Georgia's up to an 8, which is fine and all, but they'd have to play Duke. I don't love that. You've got Vanderbilt's up to a 3, playing Arkansas State, either USC or St. Louis in the second round. I'd like that for the Commodores. Love this draw for the Commodores right there.
I like that a lot.
Wouldn't love UConn in the Sweet 16, but all right.
Well,
So
we'll
once
get beat
again,
by Iowa.
2 more SEC teams. So we've got 4 in the top part of the bracket here. Okay.
What's our highest seed
continue
though?
on.
It's a 3 with Alabama.
That's Vanderbilt and Alabama are 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Here are the Cats in the South as the 9 seed playing UCLA. 8-9 game between UCLA and Kentucky. Get the hell out of here. Oh, my goodness. These 2 giants in the 8-9 game. Iowa State is the 1, by the way. Boy, what a bracket here. Kentucky, St. John's, Louisville. Count me in on this one. Auburn's dropped to a 6 to play the winner of Seton Hall, VCU. I'd be okay if I'm Auburn there. I wouldn't love Michigan State as the second matchup. And guess what? That's it. Kentucky is the 9. Auburn is the 6. To the West, Florida's a 5, playing Villanova or UCF. Would love that for Florida. Playing North Carolina in the second round. Arkansas is a 6, playing Akron. Arkansas is a 6 seems low.
It does.
But that's also, I think,
Houston is
can't
a 3.
forget.
Wow.
Can't forget Arkansas. Close calls against 2 inferior teams.
Yes.
And still have just that one Louisville win. So I think that's what's holding them back a little bit. Do you see any more SEC teams? Because I don't. That's 8. 8
What the heck?
SEC teams currently in the bracket.
That's not good.
Not good.
And
Not good.
and none of them are a 2 or a 1.
No. All 3 seeds and lower.
Man. When you what did you text me the other day? 1 Sweet 16 team?
I said you could be looking at 1 Sweet 16 team.
And with this draw, with this setup, it's like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably seed-wise, you're looking at, if you just played it by the seeds, which we know would not always be the case, what, Alabama and Vanderbilt? Is that it? Like, even Florida's a 5, so seed-wise, they lose to North Carolina the 4.
We got to pick up some wins. We got to get some higher seeds here.
Get this off the screen, Max. I can't look at it anymore. Get this thing off the screen. It's got to go.
Get it off the screen.
So,
bring
bring
it back up.
Get this sidebar back up here. Holy cow. I can't look at this. Oh, man. Well, there you have it. By the way, the Big 10 has 11. The Big 12 has 9. And the one that's really going to piss you off right here, the ACC's got 8 too. So, just won the challenge, and we're tied with the ACC over the number of teams in the tournament. Big East got 4, A-10 2, West Coast 2. So there you go.
LSU wasn't on there, right?
There was a second team out, I believe. So, yeah. Got some ground to make up.
I think we'll get 9. I think we'll get 9. I think we'll sneak 9 in there.
My worry is that some of these teams are not good enough to separate themselves in SEC play, and you're going to wind up with a lot of like teams that beat each other and do nothing for the other. Like, you're not going to have those teams that just kind of are dominant, and wins over those teams earn you a big boost in your resume. I just don't know if there's not going to be many of those. So, I don't know. There you have it. So,
well, we've got some ground to make up. We've got some ground to make up.
All right, we're done with the bracketology section of the show. Nothing else that is good. No gut bracket today, folks. Absolutely not.
That would have been
emotionally. That would be emotionally. What did Mark Pope say? I don't know.
Violent.
That
would have been
was that what it is?
Violent gut bracket.
Maybe. All right, let's get to Let's get to the super chats. This is the super chat portion of the show. Of course, you can leave super chats at any time, but we always catch up on them here if we haven't gotten to them already. Quinn's got a couple here. $4.99 on the super chat. We appreciate you, Quinn, to say that Florida has lost to TCU. Auburn would beat Illinois. Michigan and Arizona are unstoppable juggernauts, and Auburn wouldn't lose to Syracuse. We got a lot of predictions there, Quinn. And I think for our rankings, we can only go off of what we've seen. But again, I don't have a strong argument one way or the other. It's a composite ranking too. There may have been, I don't remember all the rankings that got set in. People could have had Auburn like a couple spots lower, and that was the difference. I don't know. So
it's close. I can see the argument for. I do think I would have Florida comfortably ahead of Auburn. Just ahead in every analytics site, and the eye test after the Duke game. I know they lost a close game to TCU on a neutral. Bad result, but they've bounced back. And, you have just the poor optics of the 30-point loss against Arizona, and then Stephen Pearl coming out and just saying, geez, this was a bad spot for my team. I shouldn't have put him in this position and stuff. It's just like, a little bit of a bad optics coming off the weekend. So I don't know, maybe you bump Florida above them, but I don't know. I mean, it's pretty tight. Tennessee, Auburn, not much separating them.
All right, Quinn's got $2 here on the super chat too to say 9 teams in this conference aren't good. I think it's more than that right now potentially. Maybe not, but I think there are probably more than 9 teams that would say we don't feel like we're a good basketball team right now, and that goes for even some of the teams that we had higher. But I think everybody's a work in progress. Again, as good as Alabama, as good as Vanderbilt, as good as Arkansas looks right now, like these teams are still a work in progress. So, I'm telling you, like worst case scenario for the SEC, it's like Vanderbilt loses one of these road games next week at Memphis or at Wake Forest. All of a sudden, they're so high in the metrics though, it's not going to drop them that much. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to happen. So, but then it's like it's some of these other games, like we mentioned, Missouri, Illinois. What are some other ones that we've been kind of like Georgia, Cincinnati on Saturday?
Yeah.
Like if you drop these kind of games, I'm not saying Missouri losing to Illinois would be a bad loss, but it's the fact that Missouri does not have any great wins to speak of. These are the kind of games that, again, could wind up being the difference between getting 9 teams in, 10 teams in, or 7 or 8, right? Because these are just the things that you've got to have. And I'm not saying I think Vanderbilt would drop out of the tournament or anything, but I'm just saying all of a sudden, if your metrics drop a little bit, teams that play you don't get that extra added bump, whereas if you're still a top 5 metric team, they go out and win both games at Memphis or Wake Forest, go into SEC play unbeaten or something, that's a little bit different. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of those games coming up that we've really got to focus in on and understand the importance of some of these games, like LSU and SMU on Saturday. Huge game for LSU. All these kind of games. So
they're all 1-point projections on the analytics. All of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Alabama, Arizona, 1-point game. Texas Tech, Arkansas, 1-point game. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, 1-point game. The LSU, SMU, 1-point game. These are all bounces that went the SEC's way last non-conference and have not been bouncing our way this year. So Chris asked, Big Ten best conference right now. The Big 12 is up there too. I don't know what's going on with KenPom this early season, but it's been a little weird. I feel like, it's still having like Kentucky at top 20 is just blatantly not accurate, even in the slightest. And it's still the site still has the SEC as the best conference by margin, Well,
I think it's very clear. Like we have said this in previous years, where I just think it is the preseason data which pulls some from the previous year data, right? Like there's got to be some of that into play. So where the SEC was so far ahead last year to where, let's say, Kentucky's projections were so high that it's still taking a lot to push them further down. And I just am like, I don't know. So it shouldn't be that way, but you've got to think that
we're 5 weeks through the season.
I know, but what's the other? Like, I don't think there's any other explanation. Like, it just feels like it's, I don't know.
Because you look at it's like the bottom of the Big Ten and the bottom of the Big 12. Like Rutgers and Minnesota is dragging them down. But you look at the top of the Big Ten, the SEC doesn't have anyone ranking higher than Michigan and Purdue right now. You look at the Big 12, the bottom of the Big 12 is dragging it down with Utah at 124th in the analytics. But the top of it, SEC doesn't have anyone higher than Iowa State and Arizona. So it's like the tops of the Big 12 and the Big 10 are a lot better than the top of the SEC, but the SEC doesn't have the bottom falling out that drags down like the overall conference rating with South Carolina at 85th.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. These things will eventually work themselves out, but they're not there yet, and it may be January before that happens. Especially, I think,
is the best conference. Would you say the Big 12 or the Big 10?
I
would say the Big 12.
Yeah, I think the top. I mean, Michigan obviously is Michigan, but I think the Big 12 is more. I think you've got more elite teams at the top of the Big 12. I mean, even like Purdue who beat them the other day? Why am I forgetting that?
Iowa State.
That's right. Just took it to them. So
the Big 12 has like 6 teams that have separated from the rest of the league: Texas Tech, Kansas, Houston, BYU, Arizona, and Iowa State. Those 6 teams for the Big 12, I wouldn't feel confident. I mean, if we have, Alabama or Vandy, it's probably going to be the closest spread, or Florida, but it's like all 6 of those teams: Tech, Kansas, Houston, BYU, Arizona, and Iowa State for the Big 12. That's a heck of a top of a conference to have 6 teams all like that.
I mean, UCF has a road win by 12 over Texas A&M. Utah is statistically the worst team in the Big 12. Has a win over Ole Miss. Could beat Mississippi State on Saturday. TCU has a win over Florida. So, and like these are all teams that are in the bottom half of the Big 12. Like,
yeah,
from an analytics standpoint. Arizona State has a win over Texas. So, yeah.
And that's not knocking the Big Ten. Big Ten's better than the SEC as well, I think. But it's just, I think the top of the Big 12 has a little bit more, where the Big Ten, it's like, Michigan, Purdue, Illinois maybe, and then Michigan State. It's like those 4, and it kind of drops off a little bit more.
Blue Bear said don't forget about Oklahoma State either. They're an interesting one to watch. So
they are. Yep.
All right. Quickly, Mother Carol just brought up the AP poll, which we usually would never do. But remember, this is the week where the top 12 what's the date running
back
here?
to Syracuse. When did Carmelo Anthony win it?
2003, 2004, something like that.
Yeah, whenever.
Dating back
whenever that was.
to then, the champion has come from the top 12 of this poll right here, week 6. Here are your top 12, and these are the teams that the numbers tell us will one of these teams win the national championship, which, again, I don't think it's a big surprise. Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Iowa State, UConn, Purdue, Houston, the Zags, Michigan State, BYU, Louisville. Thank God for Alabama, because they are number 12, and that's the only SEC representative in there. So there you have it. Vanderbilt just outside at 15. Arkansas at 17. Florida at 18, Tennessee 20, Auburn 21. That's the thing. Like, it's just a strange deal, man. Like, the SEC has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in the top 21. And we're over here, like, unacceptable. So,
what do you think? You think the trend is going to continue, or do you
yes.
think it might?
No.
Maybe the Vitches.
No.
Illinois.
Rock lock.
Maybe.
I would even argue you could drop that from the top 12 and take it to like the top 6. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I think so. I think we're looking at another. Well, I say that. Again, it all depends on your bracket. We're not going to play this game yet, but I got a hard time finding teams out there that are going to beat Michigan or Duke right now. Arizona also. I know it's early, but I mean those teams, their path to the Final Four looks pretty good to me, and I don't even know what it is. So
I'm still very. It's early. It is so early, but I am still very torn on who I like as a national favorite. I do not like anyone. There's not been usually in late December, early January is when you'll start seeing team. That's when like Florida started really coming on in January. Conference play. They had the Kentucky game where they lost, but still looked really good offensively in it. And you start to find a team where you're like, okay, they're clicking. I like they don't have any holes. This is going to be one of the teams. I don't have that team yet, Blake. I don't have that team. Every team, even Michigan, even Iowa State, even Arizona, there's elements of those teams where I'm like, I don't know if they win 6 games in March. Yeah, there's probably a game or two where this happens or this happens. It's like, there's no favorite for me right now.
By the way, I love this comment from Pooh Bear. Shut down Cam Boozer and you beat Duke. Well, hang on a second, Pooh Bear. It sounds great in theory, but I don't know if that's going to be that possible for most teams out there. Because so far, nobody shut him down. So I don't know. It's going to be easier said than done. We'll see. So, I don't know.
I know Michigan looks like the best. I know Michigan looks unreal right now. I just cannot personally put any sort of currency on Elliot Cadeau and Namari Burnett to lead me to a national title. I just personally cannot do it. If they end up doing it, I was wrong. But I do not believe that backcourt can win a national title no matter how good the front court is. I can't do it.
Now we're adding in a lot of caveats for this Duke thing right now, folks. If he gets hurt, well, they would drop back a bit if he got hurt. As long as he's on the court, I don't know.
There's no Con Knippel this year. There's no Con Knippel to take the pressure off a little bit.
Well, as long as that guy's playing, Duke's got a chance to win the national championship.
Oh yeah,
easily. The Zags are another team. I don't remember where they are on the AP poll. I'd put them in there. All right, Quinn, a couple more super chats. $5 here. Vandy. Now, Quinn does say Bammer. Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, and Georgia. The only good teams, Quinn says. So there you go. Also, $5 super chat. The good old days last year. Auburn at this time. Auburn was the top team. Yep. Yeah, I know.
How come Vanderbilt gets absolutely destroyed by they haven't played anyone argument when they clearly have played good teams? And that's just the only thing. But then Georgia just gets a free pass. Their best win is 84th Xavier. And Georgia just gets a free pass. Oh, Georgia's good. But Vanderbilt, who's destroying good teams, they haven't played anybody. But Georgia's good.
Look, Max, I know you're not going to believe this. There is some bias in play when it comes to SEC sports. And while we appreciate the bias here at Southeastern 16, we're as biased as it gets, according to some comments. But while we appreciate that, sometimes I do think it's okay to take a step back and be like, you know what? They're not bad. But we're not there yet. And now, it's like I said, it's the ultimate setup now. Because for everyone who's on the Vanderbilt hasn't played anybody train, all they got to do is lose one game next week. And I mean, you better act like we're talking about, what was that team? We're talking about an Ofer SEC team right here. They may not win an SEC game if they lose next week.
Oh.
They may go 0-18.
Byington might be on the hot seat if they lose.
Fire Mark Byington. Oh, man. All right, $5 super chat from Quinn. You're not wrong. They have not played a top team, and that is, we have always included that caveat. We have said it every single time, well aware. But they also have more top 50 wins, I think, than anybody in the SEC. Maybe that's changed since the last time we updated that stat, but it's close. So there you have it.
And EJ brings up a good point. May I remind people, Florida was never number one in the power rankings last year because we didn't play anyone either.
Exactly.
But I will remind you also, I had Florida number one in my power rankings first. Want to put that in there, EJ. You remember that? I know you remember that, EJ. I had the Gators.
I'll sit this one out.
When was it? It was last year. I think it was after they beat the week. It was, they lost to Kentucky, and then they beat Tennessee by 30 at home when Tennessee was really, really good. And then they went to Arkansas and beat Arkansas. And that Monday power rankings, what was it, January 13th, I think. I had the Gators number one.
Yep.
But then I picked Houston to beat them in the national title.
Yeah. Do you know where Florida was at this time last year on December the 9th in KenPom?
Oh, I'm not going to look. This time last year?
Their KenPom ranking.
They hadn't played anyone. I'll say like 15.
Florida this time last year was ranked 8th in KenPom.
Ooh.
Max, do you know who is ranked 8th in KenPom right now?
Is it Vanderbilt?
Of course it is, because I'm just going to keep drawing the parallel, okay? I'm just going to let everybody think that I'm picking Vanderbilt to win the national championship, but I am just going to keep drawing these parallels between the two, all right? And I know everybody, David said it, he thinks Vanderbilt's the Oklahoma. Maybe, they could be. We don't predict the future here, but I'm just saying.
Is Tyler Tanner the next Walter Clayton Jr.?
Oh, some are asking. People are asking.
No, it's not from us, guys. That's not from us.
We've
just been repeating from word around town.
You can't tell. We are looking for stuff this time of year. It's been a rough start for SEC basketball. We'll get into it here. Everybody just having fun with us. Incredible.
We gotta have fun at this
Some
point.
people will take this way too serious, but you guys in the chat don't. You're the best. Another $5 super chat from Quinn. Listed Vandy first. We're not hating on you, Quinn. We're asking for other people, but we would never hate on Quinn, the super chat legend here at Southeastern 16. You too can become a legend today. All you got to do is head over, join our membership tier, become a supporter, an MVP, or a legend, the highest tier. We got our legend shows coming up. Sam Smith's going to record his show with Chris Lee soon. What a spectacle that's going to be. We've got our shows lined up with One Feisty Tiger. Got a fun idea there. Mother Carol. Mother Carol's show is going to be must watch. I'm telling you. One of the most unique topics thus far. It's going to be a lot of fun. I guess, quote unquote topics. We're going to, you'll see what that's like if you're a member, but become a member. Just drop the link in the chat below. And more to come. Big Gator EJ's show, Shane's show. We got a lot more.
Video games.
I'm getting that set up today.
I was just gonna say there's no SEC action tomorrow, but there could be some kind of SEC action. Tune in.
That's our plan. If you remember, tomorrow we will likely start the video game season, College Hoops 2K8. Max and I are going to coach a team. We're going to recruit those boys. They're going to be great. Quinn says, what about a Quinn show? $5 super chat. Are you a legend, Quinn? I'll have to check the stats. I don't know. I mean, you are a legend, technically. But to get the Legends perks, you have to be a legend in the membership tier. You may be, Quinn. I haven't seen the updated things in like a couple days. You may be there. So, all right. We're out of here. We appreciate you guys as always. Head over to our friends at FanDuel. Hope you like the nice, fancy upgrade in the overlay here via Max Barr. We're out of here. More stuff to come. Appreciate you watching. Talk to you soon at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.